Okay, thank you. So, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for today's webinar, new ERCI webinar. My name is Daniel Fernandez de Soto. I am project manager at Move by Railgrup, Catalan Mobility and Multimodal Logistic Cluster, and one of ERCI founder members as well. Today, my colleague Lutz and I will guide you through the webinar. Today we have two exciting pitches about the potential of interoperable data, blockchain, and Web3 technologies to create incentives for innovation in the railway sector. So most of you have an idea of today's agenda. So let me provide a brief overview on today's agenda. We will start with Certifydoc presentation, which will be addressed by Mario Scalabrino, Certifydoc CEO and also member of Move by Railgrup. Then we will continue with OSTAKON's presentation about Web3 use cases for the railway industry by Thomas Ostertag. And after both presentations, we will have a space for questions and comments. So we encourage the participants to engage actively in this section. So Lutz, you may continue. Perhaps you would like to offer the participants a brief or expand a brief on the introduction of the ERCI, which is the European Railway Cluster Initiative Network.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and welcome also from my side. My name is Lutz Hübner from the Cluster Transport, Mobility and Logistics in Berlin and Brandenburg, and I will guide you to this webinar today. First of all, I give you a short introduction on ERCI. It's the European Railway Meta Cluster, founded in 2010 and being a legal entity since 2022. It covers 17 railway clusters which are covering 16 European countries and represents about 3,000 organizations, of which about 2,000 small and medium-sized enterprises, which are managed by the regionally focused clusters. For sure, there are not only companies, there are also universities, R&D organizations, education institutions, incubators, accelerators, and so on. The logos of the member clusters of ERCI you can see above on the slide. And what is our task? It is to increase the visibility of especially small, medium-sized enterprises on European level. It's partner matchmaking due to partner matchmaking in R&D projects, or to have such webinars or workshops where small, medium-sized enterprises have the possibility to show their innovative solutions. Also, we have our annual ERCI event, the annual ERCI Innovation Awards, two steps. First step is the regional step, where each ERCI member cluster asks their members to contribute to these Innovation Awards. And then in the second step, every cluster has a chance to delegate up to 3 of their applications to the European challenge, and the prizes will be given during the InnoTrans. It would be the 26th of September, and we are very excited what will be the result of this year's awarding competition. Then we are dealing with some special topics which are or might be innovative for developing the future railway system. And these topics are, for instance, cybersecurity, multimodal logistics, green and sustainable mobility, human factors, data management, and so on. Yeah, and that is in brief the goal that we want to reach with ERCI. For sure, also international networking, then show international market opportunities for the members of the clusters and so on. So next point. Where you can reach us. We are visible for sure on the web. We are visible on X. We are visible on LinkedIn. And for sure, we also have an email address. So you will find all these contact data later also in the chat. And now it is time to start with the first presentation. And you should use the chat also for your questions. Please indicate your questions into the chat. After the first presentation, we will have a short Q&A session on the special topic of the first presentation. The first presenter is, as Daniel already mentioned, Mario Scalabrino. He is the CEO of Certifydoc and is an high-tech entrepreneur in legal tech and blockchain. He is also a lecturer and a forensic consultant. He holds the Master of Science in Electronic Engineering and a Master's in meditation and conflict resolution. Mario also held different leadership roles in the past as an international software sales director and an armed forces officer in forensic scientific investigation. Very interesting CV. Mario, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lutz. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, ERCI and InMove for giving us the opportunity to present this new solution. As I've been introduced, my name is Mario Scalabrino. I'm CEO of Certifydoc. And now, if you allow me, I will start the presentation immediately. We have limited time, and I'm going to share my screen and start the presentation. Lutz, can you confirm me? Fantastic. Thank you. Today, I'm going to present you the new solution, Interoperable Multimodal Transportation Tracker, a new legal tech solution. We are member of the cluster IMMove, and we made this presentation for ERCI. I've been having some intervention in March last year. I think it was March, yes, when we had ERC webinar about safe and secure data sharing, and also 1 month ago in the task force for multimodal logistics in the port of Barcelona. So I'm not new to this webinar, but today I'm going to present our solution. Our solution has been also influenced highly by this cluster and the cluster of the cluster. Let's start. How did it happen? So the evolution is the last decades we had what is called the peace dividend. Peace dividend, at least for part of Western countries, for sure Europe, it meant that more or less everything was about profit and only profit. Today, the peace dividend ended. We see the geopolitical situation. It's a increasingly complicated geopolitical situation. Now, in European Union, it is about strategic autonomy, hybrid war, rule of law, climate action, sustainability, and profit. It changes a lot. Another observation we had, we used to say that the market was taken by the one that had the first mover advantage. But we increasingly see in the last decade that the market is taken from the one that has the last mover advantage. We can say last mover advantage. We mentioned TradeLens from Maersk and IBM in the blockchain sector for the ocean shipping. That was a big learning. Now the last mover advantage is it's a non-profit consortium of Chinese companies, and they have learned from their mistakes, and now they made a solution that it seems it's working very well. What's the difference? We think that the difference is the complexity. 30, 20 years ago, the world was not so complex. Now everything is very complex. But I'll leave it to you, this reflection. This is one of our possible solutions. Maybe it's complexity, maybe it's something else. But we definitely think it's last mover advantage. It's important. We need to reflect. We need to think about it, have a deep understanding of the previous experience to make new solution. And now we go to the topic of this session. This session is how can we convince, how can we incentivize the stakeholder of the railway system, but not only the railway system, the entire supply chain to adopt innovation. In this case, how can we incentivize to share data, interoperable data? Well, let's see the difference between the future and the past. We are used to operating big silos, the platform that do not communicate with each other. Data are not secure. We see a lot of hacking, and that who owns the data is not trusted by other parties, maybe competitors, maybe adversaries. The data can be tampered and hacked. Interests are absolutely not aligned, sometimes are opposite. We lack common incentive to share this data, but also personalized, customized incentive to share this data, because the ecosystem is highly complex. And we cannot only think about big players like railways, ocean shipping, or ports that are strategic, critical and strategic infrastructure also in times of geopolitical confrontation. We had little regulation on this that didn't help, and mainly it was about short-term profit. Of course, there was insufficient incentive to share data in an interoperable way. But what if now we have the opportunity to address all these issues? Would it be sufficient incentive if we really could share interoperable data in JSON format? We can have secure data spaces. The owner of this data is trusted and neutral, maybe it's decentralized. The data cannot be tampered because they can only be added. They cannot be edited. They cannot be deleted. It's an append mode. Only selected data shared, not all the data. And other selected data can be shared for common incentive. Other type of selected data can shared for personalized incentive. And all these can be encrypted selectively. Data can be concatenated. And we also now have regulation that help a lot and oblige the operators to comply, like the EFTI regulation, the Common EU Data Space Program, and so on. Would it be sufficient incentive? We believe so. The situation in the multimodal transportation is increasingly complex. We need to integrate different transportation systems into a single contract, and we need to at least obey and obtain some results for the EU Green Deal and the EFTI regulation. But we have a great opportunity here because we can combine technology to obtain full collaboration. I just mentioned three of the main technology that we combine in our solution: the interoperable data, the notarization by the EU certification authority with legal value, and the public blockchain for track and tracing. Maybe some of you do not know, but track and tracing are two different concepts. English is so lexical, so specific. So if you take a trajectory and you're in one point of this trajectory, trace is to go backward in this trajectory, and track is to go forward in this trajectory. So it means that with this solution, you can track and trace the goods, for example. What we gain immediately is that we are faster, we are secure, we can measure the sustainability goals, and we save costs through digitalization. Typical example can be this process. There's a shipper that produce his registration with our cloud system, with our cloud software as a service, and produces a QR. Apply the QR, and we also write in the blockchain. Then this good will be passed to a carrier that will make the same. But these two writing in the blockchain and the second QR code will be concatenated. It can be related to the previous one. Then it's going to move to the port will do the same thing, always the railway, because we want to reduce the carbon footprints, and then we can produce even one for the consumer. The consumer, by just having a mobile phone, and we will see this because we will have a demo live, and you all participate with this. With just a mobile phone, you can verify immediately globally the concatenated interoperable data. The solution, Interoperable Multimodal Transportation Tracker, provides a new universal immediate way to process data worldwide. Instead of having silos in private proprietary platform, we register them in public blockchain for immediate public and universal verification. And we notarize every step of the process via EU ADAS certifiers. So we achieve legal relevance. We provide you secure, legal, trusted, interoperable data. Optionally, we can use QR code to access instantly the supply chain concatenated data. This innovation has several advantages. It's interoperable, it's free and secure, available at any moment worldwide, it's on demand for any platform, and via API, open source. There are two important points. Blockchain is a complicated matter, complex and complicated matter. One of the incentives that didn't work in many other journey was the managing of wallets in blockchain. We don't want the user to manage wallets. We write in the blockchain for them, because once it's written, nobody can change it. Makes no sense to try to have user managing their wallet. And then we have another big innovation, is that we are able to write confidential data into public blockchain. So confidential public data, new concept. We are making the transition from unimodal to multimodal transportation in a concept that from private confidential, we go public confidential, from silos to interoperable data. We have immediate fraud detection instead of slow fraud detection, because everything is tracked and concatenated. We're faster, we're secure, we can measure the sustainability goals, and we, of course, are cheaper. And for integration and deployment, immediate, because we are a on-demand software as a service platform with pay-per-use subscription, and we operate via API. There's no deployment whatsoever. There's all integration with REST API, a standard in the market. Internally, what we do, we receive with our IMMTT cloud receiver on the left the data from the sender that wants to register these interoperable data. We immediately notarize to have legal relevance. Then we transform this in interoperable data, and part of it will be encrypted, part will not, and we write in blockchain. We will give back to the sender all the files and all the interoperable data that are needed for the notarization for legal value, and the URL of the writing in the blockchain. This URL can be converted to QR code and given to everyone. So the verifier on the right can verify immediately in any part of the world what has been written in the blockchain. And this is the process from the external point of view. Let's imagine that the ocean shipping platform in number one are sending this data to be registered to our cloud. Our cloud does its job, respond with all the necessary data, and the ocean shipping platform in the point after point two share this QR or this URL to all the players. For example, bank and insurance, the railway platform that will receive the goods and the container, and the consignee platform that is the final destination. In these three phases, we'll have immediate verification. But I told you we are also a legal tech company, so that's a unique value that many people underestimate. But nowadays there are many regulations, and our solution is compliant, of course, with ADAS regulation. That is the mother of all the electronic signature in the European Union, the GDPR that for privacy, and the sixth version of anti-money laundering and terrorism directive. Also food safety regulation, because we don't want to have pesticides in our body when nobody knows how they got into the European Union. We need to track and trace and be able to make inspections. And also, we provide data that are compliant with the providers that are certified for EFTI that will communicate with the European institution data of customs. The regulatory benefits are multiple. We achieve prevention and deterrent effects for conflicts. We can have data that are trusted because they are notarized by the EU legal certifier. We can have trust from consumer via blockchain because they can verify immediately. And the combination of the notarization and the writing in blockchain, it's quite a nice adapting to different jurisdictions worldwide. Now we have many slides. We start the demo. Imagine that the process is in 3 steps: the shipper, the carrier, and the consignee. We will skip the registration and all the process for the shipper, that is blue. You can see in the upper part, the shipper is blue, then the carrier is yellow, and then we get to the consignee. Now I would kindly ask all of you to take your mobile phone and please scan this QR code. I leave you a few seconds. You have to be fast. If this works, you will be immediately redirected to Sepolia network. So if you have never seen what's inside a block in the blockchain, now you've seen a transaction. Congratulations for your first time. If you are there with your browser, then you have to scroll down and click to show more. There's a link, click to show more. You have to scroll down more. You go to input data, and there's a text box. You have a button, view input as, and you select UTF-8. If you've done all these things, what you will see is what I'm showing you here. You have a magic, boom, and now you can read something, but it's not really readable. So thanks to Guido, I made something easier for you. And this is what you have here. So you can stop looking at your mobile phone and you can just follow the presentation. Sorry. These are the data that you can see inside the blockchain. They are published: the document name, electronic bill of lading, the unique ID of this electronic bill of lading, the type is non-negotiable, the date of creation of the electronic bill of lading, the name of the shipper, address of the shipper, name of the consignee, address of consignee, name of the carrier, address of the carrier, description of the goods, quantity of the goods, method of transportation, and then you will see pairs: shipper encrypted signature with EBL shipper URL. This is the encrypted signature of the shipper and the URL of the writing in the blockchain, the first one. Then you have the second one, the carrier, his signature and the writing in the blockchain. And then you have the signature of the consignee. And the writing in blockchain is the one that you are seeing right now. And at the end, you will see hash from API. That is the hash, the unique fingerprint of the data that you notarized. That is the one that has been sent to the European Union certifier for legal relevance. A quick focus on the parts that we encrypted. We have a service that is public. You can decrypt, and this is strong encryption. It's AES 256, and you can decrypt and see the data if you have the right password. This is how we achieve confidential public data. And it is very, very important, the verification mechanism, because just by reading a QR, you have been now, immediately, you didn't know anything. You have been able to verify the proof of origin, the career processes, the sustainability measurement, and up to the consumer data if needed. We already have won 2 public grants in Spain, Digital Innovation Hub and Open and Disruptive Innovation, and we are currently in implementation for this, and we're waiting for 2 more grants. We want to call you for collaboration. We are open to collaboration. We are actively looking for coordinators and corporates for EU-funded programs, and we are evolving from TRL5 to TRL6, technology readiness level, for the one that are not familiar with these acronyms. We are seeking pilot with real end users. The area of interest when R is big is definitely completely railway related. When it's small, it have implication. So if you are in the multimodal transportation, of course, count on us. In the data space, interoperability, track and tracing of supply chain, cybersecurity, defense and strategic autonomy, Green Deal and sustainability tracing, health and agri-food. In conclusion, we have come to this solution because the peace dividend ended. Now it's about strategic autonomy, hybrid war, rule of law, climate action, sustainability, and also profit. And what if we could really have sufficient incentive in the railway data ecosystem? We can have interoperable data that are shared. We can have secure data spaces. The owner can be trusted and neutral. The data cannot be tampered, only added if we use a real public blockchain. We can publish selected data, and we can also make them private or public and confidential. We can select now data for common incentive. We can select now data for personalized incentive. The data will be concatenated and will be compliant with the regulation like EFTI and the Common EU Data Space Program. Would it be for you sufficient incentive to innovate, to adoption of the innovation? We believe so. With this, I thank you very much for your attention, and if someone has a few questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mario, for your presentation. I just put the general presentation, and we just prepared 2 questions already. And the first one is, how secure is it to rely on blockchain as an external repository compared to what we traditionally use?
Yes. So I'm also a professor in an MBA course in blockchain and sustainable development, and many times to my student, I answer with this in this way. Let's say blockchain is about distrust, as born by distrust. The real purpose of blockchain is to have people that do not trust each other to trust the system, the data. So it's a very, very different paradigm. Now using external repository like a blockchain means to have decentralized, means you have no jurisdiction, means nobody can edit or delete. It's only append, means that cannot be tampered with. It's secure. It's made for this, completely different. So we have to use it for the purpose that has been created. That's my answer.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I wanted to answer that if it is the end of your answer. Now, the second question is, in your opinion, how important is the interoperability compared to the technologies involved in this solution? Cloud, blockchain, notarization, encryption, cybersecurity, API, IoT, QR, etc.
Yeah, we use all these technologies. Technologies are a mean to an end, but I would say that data interoperability is also a mean, but it's not only pure technology. I would say that interoperability is nearer to the solution, to the process level, and the other ones are technology. pure technology that you combine to have an objective, a purpose, but interoperable data are in the middle, still a mean to achieve, but nearer. That's the answer.
So I have a question or a remark. Can data operability also reduce CO2 of using massive mail flow? Recall that every mail has a 4 gram of CO2 emissions associated.
Definitely can be used like that. Of course, instead of making point-to-point, peer-to-peer messages, you can just look at a public repository. Definitely can be used like that. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Is there some other questions? Maybe you can raise your hand if you want to know something. Might be the chat function does not be proper for you. It seems not to be the case. I have only one request, and we will do it in the follow-up mail. Oh, that's a question, Valenti. Please
Yes.
open your mic.
Yes. Just I support the question that Flavia make to have the email of Mario if possible.
Yeah.
I wrote it right now. Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
thank you.
also my next remark, because we will for sure send also the email addresses of both presenters in the follow-up email. But there is another question from or remark from Ignacy.
From Flavia.
You have to open the micro, please.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Lutz. Yeah, thank you also, Flavia. Thanks, Mario, all the attendance. I think, well, recalling on to the request from Flavia, and needed to get the mail from Mario that is put it in the chat as member. Both of them are members of our cluster, but also, and also because of the expertise of Enide in building up projects. Yeah, why not to meet and use this ERCI big network, 2,000 SMEs, 16 clusters all around Europe to maybe develop a potential project proposal to the next calls. And this is we offer our value chain and potential let's say usings of use cases, but also extend the invitation to to extend to the next ERCI value chains. Of course, we need somebody able to wrap it and put it in terms of success case winner project for European Union terms. Maybe it's more not a question, just offering.
Yeah. There will be some offerings in the presentation afterwards. We will also mention some of the opportunities for the upcoming Horizon Europe, and yes, maybe then these are also interesting to you. I've picked up another question from the chat, and the question is: do you need also?
Lutz, let me sorry to interrupt you. It's just something that I will recall on this issue of CO2. Because if we make a single very easy multiplication of the mails we use for a single transit in terms of multimodal logistics, the amount of CO2 by having these tools are really relevant. So and this is very innovative too.
All right. So do you need any all stakeholders involved to provide data? How difficult is it?
It's a very relevant question. Thank you for mentioning it. The solution addresses this. So imagine that this is just on demand that happen to be called by other platform when and if they want it. So every stakeholder will choose to use them or not, and the adoption will be gradual. the incentive will be to see that this is really something that give advantages to the complete value chain, but not all stakeholders have to provide data. They choose to provide data, and they can provide data in clear or provide data that are encrypted by them, so published, but only them can decrypt them. It is not difficult at all. If you have technical knowledge, I don't know this, but it's a REST API call, Application Program Interface. It's standard in the market. I can make you a demo if you want, offline, very, very easily. It's just a call, and in a few seconds you receive the response, and you have the blockchain written. Few seconds. I hope I answered your question.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And if there are no other questions for the moment, for sure you still have the opportunity to raise questions from the chat. We are very good in time, and I know Thomas as being a quick presenter, and so I take the opportunity to come to our next presentation from Thomas OSTAKon. He is CEO at the OSTAKON company, and Thomas is an entrepreneur in the field of data-driven optimization for transport and industry. As founder of OSTAKON and Web3 enthusiast, he established Web3 use cases and data exchange for industry and work on a sustainable impact and more added value for everyone. We are really looking forward to your presentation. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Okay, then I share my screen. Hello, everybody. Thank you, ERCI, for the invitation to present something about Web3. Thank you, Mario, for the great presentation. And I will continue to make promotion for Web3 because we are convinced that Web3 will be important for data availability in the industry. Lutz already mentioned I'm founder and CEO of OSTAKON. We are a small use case lab, and perhaps I wait a second. I tell you.
Sì, Manim. Sì.
I tell you short.
Molt bé, ja passaré, doncs. Gràcies. Adeu.
Okay, Valentin. Yes. So the headline of today is Web3 use cases for railway industry, because we are convinced that Web3 could be a game changer for data, for big data, for data availability, and that you better understand why we are convinced about that. A short overview about our history. We are coming from we are railway operator and industry consultants, and we do introducing maintenance systems for railway, for example. And we help the industry to optimize their processes by data-driven information. And so we introduce sensors. We help to make the diagnosis on that so that they get information and can do condition-based monitoring and predictive maintenance. And yeah, that is a big advantage for the railway operators, for the maintainer, for all of them. But if we do that, the most what happens was, oh, great, we have a big advantage. We can also need data from other stakeholders. And the other stakeholders and members say, oh, no, those are my data. And so data is missing for better processing, data-based optimization. And so we thought about what we can do. We need more data on how we can bring the industry to share data with other partners. And I saw a nice talk from, perhaps you know them, Menlo, the Rail Talks. And there was one, they discussed the advantage of AI in industry, in the railway. And one of them said, yeah, everybody's talking about AI, but without data, there will be no AI, and there will be no data-driven optimization at all. And that's the point. And So we are convinced that blockchain or Web3 or Tangle, whatever, can be the game changer for big data, for data sharing. And therefore, we make promotion that we can onboard more and more industry partners into the blockchain or Web3 space. And also think about that. If you are sharing data, you are saving data acquisition on the one hand. On the other hand, you save data storage for duplicated data. So you will be part of a sustainable movement. That is impact business, what we are talking about. And so our idea is how we bring the data to the industry, or the onboarded data, the industry, to the Web3. The first is use cases. We need use cases because use cases solved by Web3 means that use cases solving your problems. And if we can solve problems in your processes with Web3, that will be the first step to convince the people to come into the Web3 space. The second is what I already mentioned, is the data sharing. If you have the use cases that help you in concrete problems, you will see it's easy to share these data with other partners. Of course, in the private, or if you want, also in the public blockchain. And the last one, what Mario also mentioned, monetary incentivization. Don't sit onto your data. Share the data. Data are expiring with the time. So it's an opportunity for a really early return on your invest if you share the data by a price tag. Perhaps some short glossary about the word. I'm not sure if all of you know what it is. Web3 is not a technology. Web3 stands only for new concept, the next generation World Wide Web. Technology is distributed ledger. That means that we share data, decentral, transparent, immutable in a ledger network. And we count blockchain and Tangle to this technology. Both are distributed ledger technology. Not the same, but blockchain is a chain-based technology, and the Tangle is a multi-chain referencing network. Very fast. You can do also feeless transactions, sending data. So that's perhaps that you have a better image about we are talking. And I think one of the most advantages is trust, that we have consensus and transparency if we sharing data. So that, for example, all roles of the ECM process, I think you know what it is, the entity charge of maintenance, operator, maintainer, owner, auditor, authorities, they can look in parallel on the same data. That makes trust, and you can do that in public and in private networks. Yeah, and the last one, if we talk about usage of data, we're talking about marketplaces, sharing data. You are provider, you are consumer, you are prosumer. So that is the point. A big advantage that you have the early return on invest. To the use cases. Blockchain or Web3 provide you immanent use cases. All processes that are similar, like chains, is implemented immanent in the chain. So all what is supply chain, process chain, documentation, all these things you have, I won't say for free, if you are using or sharing data into a blockchain, into a Tangle. You don't have to send all your data into the Web3. So what you are knowing is, I don't know if that works. Yeah, it works. This here, the Web 2 space, there have you a maintenance system. There you have the financial accounting system. There you have a fleet management system. I don't know, whatever. A lot of management systems. You don't have to send all this data into the Web 3, into the blockchain. No, only the critical, essential data for special process, for special process chains for flow. That's sent you into the blockchain. Then it is available, transparent, immutable for all the people and companies. They have a valid interest on this data. That is, I think, important to understand. So this is a use case, a train use case. Only as example, there is a train. Okay, you are all sitting there. All of you have, I don't know, a dashboard, access to looking onto this data. So, and there is a train, for example. There is event, a sensor. They say, oh, okay, there is a problem. And then we send a telegram into the blockchain. Then we do a diagnosis on that into the blockchain. Then the data comes to the control center, and the control center said, okay, we trigger a work order to repair something on the train. And if it's repaired, we get approval, and the train get access to running again. So in each of these steps, remember the picture with the Web 3, each of these steps, not all of the maintenance stuff, not all of the control stuff, but the events that are essential, we send into the blockchain, and then you have a continuous chain, what document, what happened. Similar also what Mario before said, then you have all the same view, and it's safe and immutable, and the authority and whatever can have a look on it. The second use case, that we are on the data sharing, that is a real existing project we're working with. That's the DK on Track, it's called. It's funded by the Ministry of Digitalization and Mobility in Germany. There is a train running over the tracks in a local railway operator. There are sensors that are examining, looking on the tracks, and the findings we send into the blockchain, into the Tangle. We are working with the IOTA Tangle protocol. Then we have the university. They make the diagnosis on this data, and these diagnostic data they send to the control center of the railway operator. That is similar to the use case I explained before, but all these data are IoT data, Internet of Things data, are from special interest of further participants. For example, other university, they have a digital twin, and they take this data to simulate examinations on train wheels. Yeah, so they use the data for simulations on a digital twin, or third-party members. They take this data, they take it from the blockchain, from the Tangle, to develop new use cases for tracking data they need. So there we have exactly this example I mentioned before. They save the cost for the data acquisition and have an additional value by this data. And then, last but not least, then the over next slide will show it. They can bring on each data a price tag if they want. A third use case is the automation of rules. For example, track access charges. You can take some special paragraphs from a contract into automated logic, and you can automate it with smart contracts. That is a tool from the blockchain, the layer 2. Then you can automate it, rules, for example, that if anyone block, for example, the track access that you automate who has to pay whom what money. For example, these are real existing, not in the train area, but in other areas, real existing introducing realizations of smart contracts. And last but not least, if you are familiar with data sharing, why don't put price tags on the data? You paid for the data acquisition, so it's your right to take also a little bit data. And the other hand is people, they save cost for data acquisition or for data storage. I think they are willing to pay you money. And think on that data is expiring with the time. Don't sit on your data, share the data, and we all will have a really added value by the data. We providing a platform where you can do that. We will introduce it deeply on the next InnoTrans, where we have a booth together with Berlin Partner on the common booth there. If you're interested to be an early bird on this platform or collaborate, because we have all worked together. Also, we are able to bridge to other blockchains. That is the idea of decentralized data. Come to us, discuss with us. We are happy about that, and that's it for now. So thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Oh, that's not the right one. Sorry for that. I have to change the sharing. That is the right desk. So, but talking about InnoTrans, it's a very good hint. We as a Berlin-Brandenburg region will have a booth there with over 80 exhibitors in the Cube Hall B, and for sure also other ERCI clusters like DTech Fair, like InMove, like our British colleagues have some joint booths and are present in InnoTrans, and for sure the ERCI Innovation Awards, for instance, will be a common event of ERCI during the InnoTrans. So coming to some questions, and I mentioned there are 4 questions. The first one, if someone wants to try out such a use case, e.g. monitoring transport, is it possible to do this without owning cryptocurrencies?
Yes, it is. If you really want to realize monitoring use cases, there is no need to have a wallet, own wallet. That is part of the network of the platform. So you only have to you have to subscribe, of course, of the platform. I think it would be the same as at Mario too. You have to become a member, and then you can put your data into, and that's all. If you want to earn money with such platforms, for example, as member of a marketplace, of course, then you need a wallet with cryptocurrency.
Yeah, second question is if participants in a use case no longer have a need to be a member, for example, because a project or monitoring period has ended, can they simply leave?
Yes. As you subscribe, you can remove the subscription easily and leave a project. Mostly, you go into a project with partners. For example, if you are monitoring, I don't know, maintenance processes, for example, you are together in such a project with the operator, with the maintainer. the ECM role 2 and 3, 4, for example, with the auditor, for example, and they have normally, I don't know, like a contract, and if they have no longer a contract or a relation together, then they leave. Yeah, that's the same way easy as become member. That's a network.
Yeah. Next question, you mentioned that you use IOTA as a technology that is similar to blockchain, but not the same. Can you briefly explain the difference?
Yeah, we call it Tangle because blockchain, yeah, the normal blockchain, there is one block after the other. So you build a chain, and the assurance that the data are immutable and so on, that is done step by step. And if you're working with a tangle, that is a direct acyclic graph, means that there are different lags and ways where different blocks and messages are referencing each other. So that is a network like a lot of flags. They are working in parallel, multi-parallel. So you get then velocity by that. And yeah, it's really fast. And also the technology for the IOTA protocol not need really fees money for the referencing the data. So with IOTA, it's possible also sharing data without money feeless.
Mm-hmm. So, and that is also the idea of the data marketplace, whether you have the choice to earn money with your data or not, or is it the same? Is it the right context, or is it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, of course, you can decide. Really, if you are talking about data sharing, you can do that with price tag or without. For example, if you sharing data with the university because you are convinced that what they are doing is a great thing, you give them the data for free. Of course, that's your decision.
Yeah. So there is another question coming from the chat. Do you consider the GS1 standard that railway players have started to use to identify, capture, and share data in a structured way along the supply chain?
I have to. Do you consider GS1? You mean this company that is this GS1 standard from GS1? I don't know this. I don't know this project from them.
Maybe Benoit can open his mic and ask directly. Benoit, can you hear us?
If not, he can send me also a mail after that. Or Mario, do you have you can answer this question?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I don't know the standard GS1 either.
I know them. There's a company in Germany. They developed different standards, also unique asset numbers and so on is from GS1. But I have no idea that I don't knew that I'm working also on that. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Benoit put some additional explanation into the chat, and I try to put it also here on the slide. And he wrote, I'd say it depends on the project. We look for the requirements of the project and implement it per chain. I would say it depends on the project. We look for the requirements of the project and implement it in the chain. That is That is an answer from another participant on the question of Benoit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And if you have any more questions,
if there is
contact
some additional explanation needed, maybe Thomas, you can also simply put your contact data into the chat, and or you wait until you will receive the follow-up email with all the information, with the presentations of today, with the link to the recording of this session and so on. Yeah, and for sure we will not miss to put also the email addresses of the both presenters into that email. So if there are no other questions, I already see the contact data, full contact data of Thomas in the chat. If there are no other questions, or if there are questions, please open your micro, raise your hand, or start to speak. Or be silent forever. No. So no questions for the moment, but for sure we have still some time. I will continue with the next slides, and we have prepared as for every ERCI webinar a short feedback questionnaire in order to get some more information on your feelings, on your evaluation of the organization, on the quality of the presentations, and on your wishes for future ERCI webinars. Maybe you have some interesting topics that should be presented in future ERCI webinars. Maybe you have also your own interest to present your innovative solution at one of the next ERCI webinars. Please let us know. I already put the link to this questionnaire into the chat. So I will give you some information on projects where some or the whole ERCI or some ERCI clusters are still very active. And one of it is the Success project. And the final event will take place on the 16th of May. The registration link is not available for the moment, but we will search for it, and as soon as it is available, we keep you informed. In the meanwhile, you have the chance to subscribe so-called Tenders Watch newsletters for public procurements in USA, Canada, and Norway, and especially SMEs of the railway industry are addressed with this project, and if they need some support to discover these markets in the US, in Canada, or Norway, or in both of or every of these markets, please contact Irina or Gerasi or Amelie. So you will find some basic information on this project at the Success Project website. Then you have the opportunity that is a long-lasting platform coming from the STARS project. It was on supporting especially small, medium-sized enterprising in adopting advanced technologies for their processes to improve their products, services, processes, and the organization. And if you want to get in contact maybe with some solution providers which are keen in some technologies like digital twin, like blockchain, like Thomas, for instance, don't be shy to create a short profile on this platform and meet one-to-one with some other participants of this platform. For sure, you could use also this platform to talk about other things. The platform will be available until the 30th of September in 2025. So we have time after time to talk to get to each other in this in contact with the help of the STARS Europe B2Match platform. So, yeah, the recording of the video of the session today will be available in a few days at the YouTube channel of the STARS project. And from the beginning, I discovered Clementine and Daniel, and they are very keen to do this very quick. And very quickly after this webinar, I will cut the video and will send the link to them. And so they are able to upload the recording. So I guess it would be available in a very short time after the webinar. Then there's one project where ERCI as an entity is the project coordinator, and it's the very first project that ERCI coordinates, and it is called LEADER 2030, and it stands for Learning for European Autonomy to Deliver Europe's Rail in 2030. It's an Europe's Rail project. And the main contact point is Guido Alcarani. He is the operations director of ERCI. But he asked me today to give a short introduction to this project. And starting with a simple example, if you can imagine of how much ingredients a simple pencil has, and from which regions in the world these ingredients are come from, you could imagine how complex the system would be if we talk about the railway sector. The keywords of these projects are supply chain, needs for the future, supply constraints, risks of supply availabilities to deliver EU rail innovations, and strategic options to ensure resilient solutions and autonomy within Europe. So, looking at the current status, for sure, there are some framework conditions which have a major influence on the supply chains for raw materials for the railway sector, and that is the contents of the project. We have a geopolitical situation we have to take into account, and for sure we have to take also into account where the raw materials that the railway sector needs are located for the moment. And for sure, we have also to take into account the climate change, which is a huge issue that we are facing. So, therefore, the Europe's Rail is interested in giving some recommendations for the future, how these lacks in the supply chains, when talking about raw materials for the railway sector, could be solved. Maybe it could be a possibility to strengthen the recyclability sector and so on. If some raw materials come from Russia or from China, which is maybe quite difficult to receive them in the future, there must be some mitigation measures, and therefore the project has first started a study of the past to identify alerts for the future. And now we are in the 10th month of the 30-month LEADER 2030 project. Is the next steps analyzing the demand side and detail it in terms of needed components and raw materials, and analyzing the supply side. That means the key raw materials and components necessary to deliver the concrete target products, and map their provenance and supply chains. So in this status, the project is for the moment. The study has been done so far, and thanks to all companies which took part in the study. And on behalf of the project consortium, this is the thank to all these companies. And it is a very small consortium. It contains of ERCI as a project coordinator, of the French Rail Technology Center Millennium, of the GKZ Geocompetence Center in Saxony, Germany, GKZ Freiberg, and the Turkish Technology Center Technopark Istanbul. So that is Liga 2030. We have another 20 months to go to deliver the project results, and for sure we keep you informed. Some information on opportunities for upcoming funding opportunities on Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is the framework program, R&D framework program, which lasts from 2021 to 2027. And we picked some examples which might be interesting also for the railway sector. These three: one, optimizing multimodal network and traffic management, harnessing data from infrastructures, mobility of passengers and freight transport, scaling up logistics innovations, supporting freight transport decarbonization in an affordable way, and improve transport infrastructure performance, innovative digital tools and solutions to monitor and improve the management and operation of transport infrastructure. The planning open date of these three calls is the 7th of May. The deadline date is the 5th of September, and the deadline model is single stage, so that you are simply look for a coordinator, and this coordinator writes the proposal. ERCI could support you in finding a right coordinator, and we have some options, and maybe it is a right option also to you. Shortly explaining the difference between a research and innovation action, RIA, and only the innovation action, IA, is on the height of the funding quote. So the funding quote is higher with RIA, with lower TRL expected than with the innovation actions. Then we also had a look at the Digital Europe program. There are open calls, most of them with a deadline for of 29th of May. There is a link that leads you to the EU funding and tenders portal, and e.g. it could be this call, which is dealing with a common European mobility data space. For sure, you will find all the information on all open calls on the EU funding and tenders portal. So if you are interested in some of the calls, or if you are planning to be a coordinator or a partner of a consortium, you could call ERCI, your regional national cluster, or ERCI by itself. The contact data are already available. So then there is a matchmaking, a B2B matchmaking on these upcoming Horizon Europe funding opportunities tomorrow and the day after, and is also a B2B matchmaking platform where you have to build or to construct a small profile about you and your company, maybe also on your interest on certain topics, and you have the chance to get in contact with other participants of the platform in order to start a consortium or to inform by yourself to find new possibilities of cooperation and so on. So then we will have a next ERCI webinar on a similar topic than today. It's on digital twins for the exchange of railway infrastructure data, and this will be in in 3 weeks, on the 15th of May. The registration link is already available, and for sure you will receive it very quickly. I have the possibility to put it in the chat for the moment when talking and putting something in the chat for the same time. It is a bit difficult, but if you give me some minutes time afterwards, I will do so, but you will receive the information as well. And we have some expected topics for next ERCI webinars. Could be railway international tenders, could be monitoring and inspection of rail infrastructure, could be human factors in AI, could be cybersecurity, could be freight and logistics. So we keep you informed on the next topics, and if you have some suggestions for topics, please let us know with the help of this questionnaire. If you are interested to present yourself or your innovative solution in one of the next ERCI webinars, please let us know as well. So any question remaining, then let us know. We have still some minutes time. We are very quick for today, and in the meanwhile, I could send you all the links which are needed, and then I would say, if there is no other question, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for your good questions. Thank you very much for these both very interesting presentations. And I just try to share with you all the links I showed before, and yeah, please use them. Find new opportunities for get each other into contact to find new collaboration possibilities. There is one question. No? If there's a question, please open your micro and speak directly. If it is not the case, thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you soon. Bye-bye.